Super crispy, super crunchy, with a nice kick of chili. This is my super easy version of salt and pepper wings. Hey everyone, it's Cher here at School of Wok. Good to see you again and welcome back to another episode of Wok Wednesdays. Today we are going to be making some salt and pepper wings, one of my favorite snacks. Super easy, super quick. It's great for if you've got people coming over and you don't know what to do for them. You start off with the wings and I'm just going to show you how to prep your wings. We're first of all going to get rid of the wing tips. Okay, that's going to go. We will separate the drummets and the wings. Just flip your wings over and then just kind of come down through that joint there. Wing tips are great in that you can save them for stock. If you freeze them, get a whole load in your freezer. They just perfect for stock. So you've got your drummet here and you've also got the wing part. And I'm just going to feel for the kind of the joint, if you will, right sort of between the two. And just going to cut through like that. It is just a bit of cartilage here, so you should be able to get your knife through with no resistance whatsoever. So I'm just going to do the rest of these wings, and I'll see you on the other side. Next up, we're just going to coat our wings and drummets really well in corn flour, and we're just gonna get some seasoning onto the corn flour for now. Some salt and also some white pepper. You could obviously do black pepper if you prefer. I just kind of like white pepper because it's just more of a neutral taste. Mix that all well. We're doing corn flour instead of plain flour because corn flour just kind of gives it a really much nicer, kind of crispier texture. So I'm just going to grab hold of one and just kind of go in there. Keep your hands kind of separate. Know what is your dry hand and what is your wet hand. So you just want to make sure you coat it really well until there are no damp areas of the chicken. So that's looking quite good. I'm just going to pop it to the side for the moment. And when I come back later on, and if I find that some of the dry bits have gone damp, because sometimes it does take quite a lot of corn flour to actually coat, then I will just kind of do a little bit of a recoat as well. Whatever you do, you just want to make sure there are no damp spots on your chicken, okay? Right, so for the drummets and the wings, I've just kept them separate, even though they're on the same plate, just because I wanted to maybe start with the drummets first, because the drummets just take a little bit longer, about a minute longer than the wings. So quick tip, just if you're testing for whether oil is ready, just kind of insert like a wooden chopstick and it should, within about a second or two, start to fizzle or sizzle. And so that's a really good indication. But if you are sort of using a thermometer, you're kind of looking for about, for this first fry, 150 degrees Celsius, okay? So just gonna get our drummets in first. So first of all, just want to make sure when you're filling your wok or your pot, you don't overfill it. Halfway is quite good because obviously you don't want the oil to overspill or come over the sides. And we're just going to fry the wings off for about a couple of minutes first. See how they go. Obviously, if they need a little bit longer, because if they're bigger, they'll need longer. Just kind of gauge accordingly, but at least for about 2 to 3 minutes. Before we take them out, and then we drain them, and then we can go on with the wings. Right, so drummets have had about a couple of minutes, and you can see nice light brown color, and we're just gonna drain them off, get them from the hot oil, drain them off. They are looking really, really nice. Don't worry if the color looks a little bit pale. At the moment, we are going to go back in for a second fry later on. So this first fry is at a much lower temperature, around 150 Celsius. And that really is just to make sure that the chicken is completely cooked through, that we don't have any raw chicken, because raw chicken is never a good idea, okay? So those can just happily kind of sit there to the side for the moment. I'm just going to then carry on with the wings. So the wings don't take very long at all. But you want to just kind of keep them separate from the drummets, and also, you know, if you're trying to do really big batch at a time, it doesn't really work very well because, you know, every time you put something into a hot wok of oil, that meat or that protein is just going to lower the temperature of the oil too quickly, too much, and so things start getting a bit greasy, and that's why, you know, if you get greasy wings, probably not using the oil at a very sort of high temperature. Right, so the wings are ready to come out. And again, a nice kind of light golden color. And we're just going to remove them and let the oil just kind of come up to temperature again, much higher temperature for the second round of frying. We're going for about sort of 180 degrees Celsius. One thing you'll also notice as you're sort of deep frying anything like meat or protein is that when you first start this deep frying process, you get lots of bubble and lots of sizzling going on. And then as the food finishes cooking, the sizzling and the bubbling tends to just kind of come down a little bit. So that's a really good way of telling, because all of that moisture will have sort of escaped from the meat protein, but you're looking for nice crispy texture, which is great. Right, so just give your oil a couple of minutes of heating up, and then we're just going to go in there, and you should get a nice sizzle as you drop the chicken in. This time we're just going to do the drumettes and the wings together, and literally it just takes a couple of minutes. Right, so as you can see, the bubbles have kind of dissipated a little bit, so that means that the chicken is cooked through. We're just going to check. Nice golden color as well. Sort of a honey color. So we're just going to let that drain off for a bit. If you're using the same wok, you need to just very, very carefully drain away the oil. We just need now a dry wok or dry frying pan for the next bit, which is when we're just going to add the salt and the pepper to the wings. Excellent, great. So chicken's just draining. We're just going to move on to the next bit, which is the stir fry. Obviously, you can just kind of deep fry the chicken and that'll be nice and fine. But we just want to kind of flavor it with a little bit more stuff. So tiny bit of oil, and we're just going to do a very, very quick stir fry of some aromatic vegetables, aromatic herbs and stuff like that. Here we have got some garlic and some little tiny bird's eye red chilies, as well as some spring onions. Just going to go into a wok that's kind of over a medium heat. You don't want it too hot in here because everything will just kind of burn. So just enough heat to make everything nice and fragrant. Going to do a really quick stir fry. If you find that the heat's a little bit too intense and things kind of starting to brown, just kind of get your hot wok away from your heat source. But you're looking to just kind of make sure that everything stays relatively uncolored at this point. You're not looking to brown anything. So just making sure the garlic's got time to bloom in the oil. And we're just going to then go in with all of our wings and drumettes. Without the paper, obviously. And a quick kind of a toss through. Make sure that the wings and the drumettes have enough time to kind of get coated in the lovely garlic. So it should really sound nice and dry. Okay, so shouldn't be sort of liquidy or wet because this is salt and pepper wings. Yeah. So now I'm just going to go in with a tiny pinch of just caster sugar, just a tiny bit of caster sugar going in, and also some salt. It wouldn't be salt and pepper wings without the salt. You need plenty of that. And finally, also just a tiny bit of white pepper. You could obviously use black pepper, but I just kind of prefer white pepper for this. So just going to give it a really good toss, folding things over. And it really doesn't take very long at all. You're looking just to kind of get all the spices and the pepper distributed throughout the wings, and then you are literally done. Super crunchy and really, really crispy. Oh, just really nice sort of kick of heat there as well as that sort of lovely peppery flavor coming through. So definitely worth doing the double fry. Super intense crispiness. And I think that's about it for this time. Do leave us some comments, subscribe, and also just kind of like if you like, or if you don't, then don't. And I shall see you the next time on another What Wednesday. Take care now.